This is an HPI NItro MT2, my favorite 4x4 stadium truck style nitro ever made.
It all started with an HPI racing RS4 and it will never end. It'll end. It's all about the fire and the whole hell yeah. Hybrid will never call a nitro toy because they work so hard. He will never quit bringing old nitros back to life.
These were discontinued many years ago. This particular one will eventually be made great again. And I guarantee you, in this video, regardless on condition, it will be started and we will hear that HPI engine run. I'm going to tell you something, guys. There is a lot wrong with it, but every nitro deserves to be a runner. This one will be no different. Let's take a quick look at what it has to offer. We'll talk about the chassis and the perceived issues that I believe it currently has. The most obvious thing is the body. The HPI NItro MT obviously never came with a Traxxas JATO body. But guess what? It in fact is close to being a direct fit. Doesn't look too bad. I think this one was trimmed a little bit, not the best. You probably could get away with getting a JATO body to fit even better. This isn't the very early Nitro MT. This is the MT2. So this one did have a couple of very great upgrades over the original. And I will basically just point out the fact that we have an HPI T15 engine with rotostart, with a high flow header. These were single speed transmissions. Basically the same fuel tanks as the very early generation. We have a regular composite tuned pipe, and the rest of it was basically the same as the very first generation of the Nitro MT2. Now this one obviously has had a lot of modifications, some of which, well, they do look pretty cool, like this anodizing removed shock tower and the anodizing removed suspension arms. I do like the way that looks. The way you see it here, guys, is how I got this car, so don't think I did that. We're also missing a couple parts, mainly the battery cover and the receiver cover. Otherwise, it is complete. Now, these models were about $300 to $350 depending on where you bought them, and I remember these were some of the best small 4x4 stadium trucks ever made. This is an era back when really these were called trucks. Now today, this would be nowhere close to the size of pretty much any modern Traxxas. Even a regular Traxxas t-maxx 3.3 dwarfs the Nitro MT in size alone. Now I have right next to it, in fact, an HPI NItro RS43. Now this is an original, very early first generation of the RS43 chassis, and it has actually a lot in common with the Nitro MT. The entire battery tray layout, transmission, throttle setup, engine mount, it's identical to the Nitro MT. What this means is you do actually have some pretty good parts compatibility if you definitely need to get some. Notice mine is missing all of this, but the problem is, will I be taking off this battery box to put it onto this car? Now, I am kind of a nitro preservationist, you could say, maybe a paleontologist of vintage RC. And that means I do think every nitro deserves to have its correct parts. If I were to swap it, I don't know if I could actually sleep at night. I'm just kidding, guys. I could do it, but I don't know if I will. Deep down inside, of course, I do want to pick up the correct battery tray parts, and I likely will in the near future. Engine-wise, these are the T15, and I would say some of the best-looking design cooling head I have ever seen in a 10 scale from HPI. This one obviously is not in very good condition. It's been rolled probably a lot, and some of it has been, well, pretty much scratched. It looks real bad. But the overall design of the cooling head, I think it looks real nice. Now, these were not very powerful engines, but they were definitely way better than the 15FE engine that it replaced. That is rated at maybe about 0.5 of a horsepower, so half a horsepower. I was not able to find legitimate horsepower ratings for this engine, but I would assume it's probably about 0.75, which is 3/4 of a horsepower. Excuse this small interruption. I had to take a little bit of a side quest. I did dig up some information on this engine, and as far as I could tell, it is rated for 1.2 horsepower. Honestly, I think this is way overstated. I don't think it's anywhere close to that. I will still stick to my correct rating of about 0.75. Let me know in the comments what you think it is. It's an ABC engine, 0.15 side exhaust. They're relatively okay engines, but their fatal flaw, and this is from my own observation here throughout the years, every single one I've ever gotten has been no compression at all. Now I'm going to spin over the flywheel here, and we will take a look whether this one is any different. And of course, this one is also pretty much no different. It has relatively bad compression as well. Notice the obvious sign of a bad carburetor tune. This high-speed needle is literally buried. Either way, we're going to go fire this up in a little bit. We'll see how it runs. I wanted to take a quick look at an old RC Car Action magazine with the original ad for the Nitro MT2. This, in fact, is exactly the model that I have here on the table. So this is the T15 engine. It says high performance, aggressive porting, ABC. Notice it does not tell you any kind of specifications on the RPM or horsepower. Man, that's fine. What are you going to do? Extremely durable and dual needle 5.5 carb. That's actually quite nice. These carbs, major upgrade over the old 15 FE carb. Having an adjustable low speed needle and a metal carb body. Hopefully this thing will be good. Now I also flipped through this magazine a little more and I found something real interesting. An old Tower Hobbies listing for the price of what this was brand new. Now, if I get real close here, it says Nitro RS4 MT2 RTR, $339. That is a bargain right here, in my opinion. But realistically speaking, if you wanted some actual comparisons to what other cars cost, because that would be the only real fair way to do this, let's take a look at how much a regular t-maxx costs. So the t-maxx 2.5 would have been $379. So what, about like $30-something less for the Nitro MT? I don't know. You do get a lot more for your money in a t-maxx. What about a Savage? Let's take a look at how much a Savage 25 was. $409 for a Savage 25. Honestly, just based on this, the Nitro MT does not appear to have been that cheap in my opinion. It might be old, but let's go put some fuel in it and fire it up. As you guys know, I have to do a little bit of work on this, so it's currently not on the radio, but it is set up. Just need to replace all this, get a couple parts. Let's put some fuel in. I am running 20% VP. If you want to get this fuel, I'll put a link for it in the description to this video. Real good fuel, solid, reliable. You can run it in old nitros, you can run it in new nitros. So unfortunately, the one-way bearing is completely toasted, slipping. Everything here needs to be pulled and fixed. And that means we're going to be using this trusty old Dynamite starter box. Gotta tell you, I have fired up hundreds probably of RCs on this box, and it really doesn't matter. Eventually you line them up. Obviously, you know, if you want a really good starter box, it's usually positioned to only start one car with pegs on top here. That way you could just put it down and it's automatically lined up with the flywheel. But in my case, you know, I use it to start a lot of old cars and different sizes in general. We're talking from micro all the way to 1/8 scales. This is going to be no different. Let's put it on the box. I will do... Oh, hold on a second. I forgot to prime it. Good thing I forgot to prime, because then we could actually watch it. So these old cars, great thing, they have built-in primers. I've installed an inline fuel filter. Very, very important. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, I heard the fuel in there. It should be good. The annoying part is obviously lining up the flywheel, but eventually after a couple times you get it correct. It should fire up. I have it relatively to low idle, but I'll adjust the carb as soon as it starts. If it starts, that is. All right, 1, 2, 3, fire in the hole. There we go. The runner. Lower to idle. That's it. Can't kill an old nitro, my dude. Can't do it. We put it down. Seems to be a runner. Obviously no radio, so I just have it at idle. But yeah. No compression, but it's still running. Let's see how long it'll run for. I love these chassis. Nice and rich. We give it a little juice. Might not be too great, but we'll try. Alright, I mean, carb-wise, it's good. We got ourselves a nitro runner, baby. I mean, I'm happy, relatively. All right, I'm gonna shut it down. All right, plug the air filter there, shut it down. It seems to have run good, right? I know, but as soon as I go and spin the flywheel, it's basically close to zero compression. Well, some more proof that these old nitro trucks, even though somebody definitely tried to kill it, they still run. Truth is, if I actually put this on the ground and revved it for more than about a couple minutes, it would basically need to run much leaner. Eventually, it would reach a point where it would just overheat. Notice the high-speed needle on this one as is right now. It's basically buried. That is not a good sign. That means someone's already compensated for the complete death factor of this HPI. But I do like these nitro trucks, and I am going to actually repair it. Well, guys, with that, I bid you goodbye for now. Let me know what you think about this truck. I'm going to do a repinch on it. See you in the next one.
It all started with an HPI racing RS4, and it will never end. It does not matter if the electric